Hey, dude. There was something that I wanted to talk about that I think I mentioned last time a little bit with that whole book fiasco that was thrown on our desk the start of August to September. Well, there was two big changes. It was that one, and then I wanted to share something else because this past Friday when I was leaving the school, I bumped into the nurse, Kimberly. She I was saying hi to her, and she was mentioning to me some of the nonsense that also got implemented more on her side, but it kind of affects us, which was Senate Bill 12. I'm gonna read you like the verbatim thing that was sent to us in an email, and I'll put it up here somewhere. I'm still practicing editing, but it reads that schools need to obtain written parental consent for most health-related services, including administering medication, except for certain emergencies. So all of us, when we were first hearing about this during the panel, we were like, "Well, what exactly? Can you expand on this? Because what exactly does this mean?" And they looked kind of on the cautious side because I could tell some of the admin, the principals, assistant principals, and the nurses were kind of just like, "We don't particularly know. We're just reading you what we're legally required to read you, and we're gonna let you know as time passes." So they were saying, while we're waiting for that, these are the do's and these are the don'ts. So the don'ts really shook us. So they were afraid, and because they told us a lot of districts were confused in September for what we're going to get in trouble for. And the things we were going to get in trouble for, to their knowledge at the time, was so to piggyback off this paper, this PDF file paper we were required to give to every single one of our students. And on this paper, it describes in vague detail about the things we can do, the things we can't do, what happens if you say yes or no. And the jargon of it, I can, looking at it like quickly, I was like, man, some parents are going to be like, what the heck is this? And rightfully so, because the way the nurse and them were describing it to us was towards the latter half, there was a lot of confusion that they were seeing and talking with other principals throughout Texas and in the area, in the RGV, that there was confusion about the tasks that were delegated for the nurses and the tasks that are delegated for teachers, that there was like some confusion in September. So because of that, during that training before the school year started, in fear of breaking some code and leading to some investigations, like in this little photo, they said do's and don'ts were teachers in the classroom are not allowed to give out Band-Aids. Yeah, so we can't give out Band-Aids. We can't give out, of course, like cough drops, things of that nature to students. Before it was like no problem. Here's a Band-Aid gun. Here's a little pad for a little cut you have. No big deal. Now we can't do that. And the face you're making right now is literally the same face we were all making in that library. Like, wait, really? Like, run that by me again? And when I was talking with the nurse there, and I was like, "Hey, Kimberly, do you know like what set off all of this?" And she started to tell me something, and I looked it up, and wow, it had to do with some, I guess conservative type, like blanket. Um, she told me she did a lot of years in in an ER room, and she asked the same exact question that we were all asking, and she did a little bit of research, and she shared a link with me, and this is the one I was sharing with you, that um, it might be driven, highly likely that it's driven by conservative legislation and decisions made by those higher ups up in the Texas Education Agency, in response, as like a Bandaid-Fix, in response to some of the things that have come to light with gender identity, the curriculum control, mental health services, just things to let parents have more control and security in, I guess, their child's education journey. Which, man, that might have that might have had some good heart with the thought of it, but
Wow. Like, uh, so you can imagine how scared some administration were to get some like bad PR and bad, waste of time and resources, getting in phone calls from TEA, wasting time when we could be, doing productive things with the kids. So because of that, for the first 2 months, we were like very strictly like, do not do things like that we used to be brushed under the rug, Band-Aids, acetaminophen, or sorry, the allergy medication, cough drops, little fast quick fixes. Now we have to tell them to go to the nurse. Nurse has to go on the computer, check while the student is waiting there, either call the parents before she gives aid or gives aid because they have that paper on file. And if they don't have that paper on file, then she has to do some busy work to call the parents, praying that they answer the phone, then rendering medicational aid if they need it for their daily routine. So yeah, the frustration you're getting is probably fair. Like, wow, some of the kiddos are just like, sir, it's just a band-aid, like, can you give it to me? I just got a little scrape on my thumb. I'm like, yeah, me. I hear you, Miha, but I mean, we just got some rules that we got to follow, so please go to the nurse just real quick and see what she tells you. And yeah, you probably, the anger I was feeling was probably justified, but I really highly recommend. So fast forward to, like, now, this past Friday, she told me if there was actually some development with legislation in that Senate bill where I I just took a quick Google search, and here it is where TEA had to clarify the specific teacher protocols for small things. Um, the teacher clarifying Band-Aid fixes, things that are okay that can be passed, and things that are absolutely like you can't do this if they don't have parental consent. So, wow, just I wouldn't. With all this in mind, I wouldn't blame parents if they want to be homeschooled right now. Because do you ever get that feeling? The question I have for you is: do you ever get that feeling where with hospitals, with medical care, doctors that have a true heart, like people that are on the front lines, that have moved on to like legislative powers that try to push for the little man, push for the people it actually matters for? Because I saw an Instagram post that pretty much said that exact same thing. I'm gonna link it to you right here. But man, amen to what this girl just said. She's a teacher, and she gave like a really good point that any political head that touches education in any form or fashion has to do a type of jury duty where they get 8 days of necessary volunteer substitute work at a school district yearly. Two, and she goes on to say why she picked 8 days specifically: two at elementary, two at middle school, and two at high school, just so they can see, what goes on the front lines before they make these, crazy BS decisions. So, in the hospital, do y'all like have the same mentality where some of the higher ups are, making decisions that they have no idea? Like, it's been like 20 plus years since they've been in a hospital in the front lines, and they're just winging it. What do you think?